Do you like to break me down when I'm shattered on the ground? Are you happy? Are you happy? All I wanted was your love. Was I asking for too much? Are you happy? Are you happy? Do you like to break me down when I'm shattered on the ground? Are you happy? Are you happy? All I wanted was your love. Was I asking for too much? Are you happy? Are you happy? You break me down off the ground. You happy? You happy?
Hello my soul family, welcome to The Love Show. My name is Christy Ramirez and I'm your soul coach, and today's love show is for November of 2021, and the theme for today is actually 1111 Make-A-Wish Serendipity. Now this is a huge manifestation portal that is opening for spiritual love. And I've been guided to make today our last episode of The Love Show. But our angels are telling us that the love journey does not end here. And in fact, it might even just be the beginning. So definitely make sure that you watch this whole entire show series, which is like a little movie that I created for all of you that began last holiday, basically in December. So begin from the holiday love show and then progress to January all the way till today, November. So today's a very powerful day because it is our conclusion of this love journey. And again, this is about making a wish, and 1111 today is confirming to us that anything is possible. Our dreams of a true love relationship is possible in this life, and we are tested to keep the faith and the hope alive, even though it doesn't seem like it's there, or the complete opposite. In our heart, we need to keep this inner knowing that anything is possible. Miracles are possible, and we are being guided today to set our intentions to what kind of relationship we want with our spiritual lover, and how do we want it to look like in this reality, in the physical world. Because that's how anything begins. It first needs to begin in our mind, through daydreaming and thought. And only then, when we know clearly what it is that we want, what kind of dynamic of a relationship, what kind of interaction, what kind of intimacy, then, and even vulnerability, right? This is a huge guidance for us to be able to manifest this spiritual love partnership. There needs to be vulnerability, hence there needs to be transparency, honesty, communication, right? Literal communication. It can't always be up in the head because we need to anchor this. And so this is what's coming today, this month, for November. Serendipitous events are going to start to occur. And now, if you all have watched the movie Serendipity, one of my favorite all-time holiday movies, because it is the entire true story of the twin flame story. It's the spiritual love partnerships that even after all those years they were in different relationships, but they had a chance encounter right in the middle of their other relationship, and it was a moment in time that they could never brush out of their heads. They could never forget that memory, because guess what, that other soul was a part of their soul that was missing. So throughout the next second half of the relationship, because remember, they stayed in the other relationship, it was never the same. And not because the other person, who the person they were with, was doing something wrong. It's just that it wasn't the person for them. And on both sides, right? It was both the divine feminine and divine masculine that were dealing with this. They were always on their mind with this other person who was like ages ago they had met, right, in the physical world. And they obviously had a deep hope and wish in their heart that they would meet again. And that's this deep wish that we're all being guided to make it a wish. Say it with intention, pray for it, because God is telling you that, He's telling you that it can happen. There's miracles that He wants to bless and reward us with. And with perfect timing, because Thanksgiving's coming up, the holidays, Christmas season, which is gift season, and God is the ultimate Santa Claus of all, and He can make your dreams come true. So you're being guided to believe that this is possible. And so that's basically what it is, right? Because in the movie Serendipity as well, you know, they basically couldn't be together because of fate. It wasn't the right time, right? And Sarah, which was the girl in that movie, the woman, she very much believed in fate, right? And serendipity. And she taught this concept to him because he didn't really believe in that, right? And he thought that she was just playing around with their connection, because why leave it up to chance, he would say, when he could have her number right then and there. But she knew in her heart that if she wanted to give it up to literally to fate, to destiny, and give it up to the universe and surrender it to God. And she said, you know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And he was writing his number on a paper, and then the paper flew away by the wind. So she took that as a clear sign to pause, and that perhaps it wasn't the right time. And guess what happened all of those years in between that encounter and when they finally met at the end, both of them single, they had grown throughout that time period. And that's again what I touched up on the previous episode, is that we sometimes need to be with other people who are soul teachers. They're not our true soulmate, right? They can be just a soulmate, but not the one. Because we need to learn things from them, or with them at least. And they're also learning, right? It's not like they're being used, because they're also learning on their journey. And that's just how life works, right? That's why people go through relationships. And of course, you know, when you're awakened on your journey and you kind of figure all of this out that we've been talking about for these previous episodes, you come to a point that you don't want to waste your time and your heart and emotions with someone who you know is not the one, because it would do more damage as well when you're already aware that they're not the one, right? That's more intentional. But in this situation, they weren't really conscious about the depth of that connection, right? And I think that they should have broken it off a long time ago if they knew that they were always on their mind with someone else. But they didn't have enough time to even get to know each other. And that just comes to show you that they didn't need to know each other, because they already knew each other on a soul level. And this is the recognition that our souls experience. When you look eye to eye in someone's eye and you feel like you know them already, it's because they're one of you, right? And of course you don't get this feeling with everybody. You might get recognition, like maybe you might feel a kinship with someone because they were maybe a part of your past life. Maybe you had some kind of relationship. But when it really comes to your true soul mate, your other half, it's just like an experience that is even unexplainable with words. Okay, you just feel like you know them. You really don't even need to get to know them too much, because you almost mirror each other, and you're almost like going through similar things, and you are almost the same person as well, because you think alike, and obviously you're one and a half soul. Think of literal twins that are born from the same mother's womb. These twins are very alike, even though they're a little different, right? Especially identical twins, they're very exact on the outside, but on the inside they also still have their own personality. But deep in their soul, genetically, they are the same, because they have the same DNA. And that's this concept of you're one. You might look different on the outside. Obviously one is a woman, one is a man, but on the inside there's a lot of similarities. That it's just like, it's like they're the female version of me and they're the masculine version of me, right? That's how similar you need to feel with your other person to know that you're in the right relationship, that is your spiritual love relationship. And I do feel like by this month that we're in, this spiritual bond has only grown stronger. And this is the breaking point of it finally manifesting into something real, because the bonding has already been done, right? The cultivating, the friendship part of it in spirit. And now it's about manifesting it through passion. And I do feel like a lot of passion is coming in. The red roses in the back, and a lot of, innocence with it along. And it's very pure, because that's what a spiritual love partnership is. It's a pure love. And, a lot of compassion and forgiveness needs to be in this partnership for it to even work, right? Because if not, that would do more harm. And I feel like there's going to be a complete new slate, erasing the chalkboard of everything from the past and starting anew with this person, because this is the person for you. And serendipity, which means destiny, is gonna bring you together. Cupid's arrows are firing at 1,000 times speed, because these partnerships need to come together for hence the spiritual mission, which is to begin in 2022. And I don't think this is synchronistic, but again, this is serendipity, okay? Because in the Lightworker University that I did for this year, the theme for 2021 to 2022 is the spiritual mission. This is the focus, and this is what's happening in divine plan, right? This is God's plan for 2022, is bringing partnerships together, spiritual partnerships, so romantic partnerships, romantic spiritual love partnerships, and then also friendships, business partners, all of this, because it's all for the mission, for the spiritual mission, right? Not just any mission, not ego-driven missions, spiritual mission. And this is part of it. So from 11/11 to 12/12, which is another huge portal, the last portal of the year, this is the transition phase. This is the dark tunnel that we're gonna come out the other side, 12/12, and then definitely watch the holiday show and start the whole show series again if you wish, to understand what has been happening, what you're undergoing, because this is the final last push to the finish line for this union to happen in this life, this divine spiritual love union. It's a very beautiful message for all of us today, because it's like finally we've reached this place that we've all been waiting for since the beginning, right? This has been an extensive long movie of like 12 hours, but this is how the journey is. This is the fool's journey that we embark on, right? We have the spiritual journey, which is more what the fashion show red carpet event touches on. And then parallel, hand by hand, we're also undergoing the love journey, which not everybody gets to this experience as well. So this reminds us to stay grateful and know that we are luxurious and lucky to be experiencing this spiritual love partnership. And if you found your other half in this life, then count yourself to be above blessed, and don't waste that golden opportunity, because this is not something that just comes just like that to anybody. Only, I don't want to say special people, but definitely if you've been chosen for a greater mission, and especially for a spiritual mission together with your partner, this is something not to be discarded, and definitely not to be ignored, but something to be really, really confronted. So a lot of fears need to be confronted. The ego needs to be confronted. Situations that are blocking the situation need to be confronted. Anything that is blocking this spiritual love partnership from coming together needs to be confronted, because guess what? Divine intervention will always come and basically ruin your party, right? If that's what you're having. And if you're living a different reality that perhaps is not in alignment with your soul evolution, with your soul path, with your spirit within, God will intervene. And these tower moments, which I do feel are coming, right? Because I feel like these tower moments are going to come for those who are resisting this love. And these tower moments are going to come to shake everything up, but only to start rebuilding again, hence the fresh new slate. So we need to really be humble before God, modest, and surrender to what God wants for our life, and even for our romantic love life, because we're all here for our love life, right? And chances are that if you've made it to this episode, you're single, right? I'm single doing this. I did this whole show series single, and I know that my partnership is waiting for me because I've been doing the work, right? And And I want this to be the same for you if you resonate with what we're talking about, because you deserve it too. And this is something of the most healing experience that we can all have, because love is the most healing vibration. Spiritual love, sacred sexuality as well. This is definitely coming along with the spiritual love partnership. Tantra, which is what I teach in my School of Light. You know, that's what I want to talk about actually a little bit of this before we get into our oracle reading with Botticelli, as we always do. Because this is a little bit of what might be perhaps the last remnants of what might be blocking this relationship. And this is important to talk about because this is like the final cord cutting that we need to do. Final ripping apart of anything that doesn't serve you. And it can even be past issues, past emotions, past traumas, even past memories, or just past connections that are still in your life. Knowing how to cut that away, and then being able to step into this new vibration, which is of higher frequency, so that we may connect with higher consciousness, higher love, a higher way of living. And all of this is coming for us through this 1111 portal. So make your wish, because serendipity is about to blow your mind, literally. So let me take a sip of coffee and we're going to continue this. Make sure that you also tune into our weekly poetry class at my School of Light, which is exclusive for my members. Go to christianramirez.com/school to watch all those episodes going deeper into the spiritual love journey. And so before we get to what I was saying about the cord cutting and what doesn't serve us, I feel like another guidance for us as well is to make sure that you're seeing things clearly, right? Again, this is, we always say this, but this is removing the veil of what you perceive to perhaps be love that might not be love, right? We need to first distinguish what true love is and what not, right? Because people get confused, and we did kind of touch up on this on the previous episode where I explained the difference between different kind of relationships that we have in this life, right? So envisioning, you know, what I think a great journal assignment for all of us during this time would be to reflect on what true love is to you. What is a spiritual love partnership to you? Write about it. Write about your experience with spiritual love if you are experiencing it, the spiritual bond, and ask yourself if this is something that you even want to manifest in the physical realm. Because again, this can also be a blockage for many people. Many people think that they want this, but then maybe it shows up and then they're not sure. Maybe they think it's just too much, because again, these fears and doubts come in when it comes to self. Am I good enough for them? Are they going to leave me? Are they going to hurt me? All of these questions are plausible questions that we ask when we enter any new relationship, right? And it can create fear and blockages, because that's being afraid of what is going to happen in the future. But again, God is to remind us that if this is truly a spiritual love partnership, once you come into official union, there's no separation anymore. There's no going back. It's like the spiritual mission, right? Like I mentioned in the Lightworker University presentation for this year, once you commit and devote yourself to the spiritual mission, you can't just back out. Once you get initiated into an army, you can't just back out. You'll be arrested, right? There'll be consequences. Once you come into official union with your spiritual love partnership, there's no going out. Nothing, because in order to have even reached this divine official union, you have to have been healed. So you already done the healing work. So again, that helps us to release fear, because being in union, there's a prerequisite that you must already be healed. And if you're already healed and then you come into union, there's just no possibility that you're going to come apart. Nothing can get in the way of that partnership. No people outside, because we're stronger now. Let's say, you know, maybe you're afraid of temptations outside. That will not touch the relationship, because you've already grown out of that and you're more solid and you trust yourself. So all of this type of healing needs to happen, which is purgatory kind of healing, which that's what I wanted to talk about. And I did talk about purgatory, you know, the stages of it from Dante's comedy in April's fashion show, because this is now what's being tested. for the spiritual love union. Okay, this also happens in spiritual love because guess what? On the bottoms of purgatory are actually, like, you want to say the lesser sins, right? Like greed, ego, pride, right? Monetary greediness, power greediness, all these type of greediness, your state and social your social status, all of these things. But guess what is the one at the very top and one of the hardest to overcome for many humans, and that is lust. And you know, I always like to say this little quote: is this lust or love? Because that's going to tell you what true love is, right? And it's important for us to be honest with ourselves. Are you just lusting after someone, or do you really love them for who they are? If you just look in their eyes and don't see their physical body, do you really love them? Do you know them? Do you feel a bond with them, a spiritual bond with them? And that's how we are to approach this kind of relationship, not through how they look on the exterior. Because remember, your physical body can change. You can get on a new exercise regimen and get in your best shape ever, right? So that's very moldable. But that doesn't make a person's character. It's the inside spirit that counts. There can be beautiful people, but inside they can be very ugly. And then when you see people for who they are, you can see their beauty from the inside out. And that is when you know that you're spiritually mature, which is actually the November fashion show theme, is spiritual maturity. We're growing very mature in this journey. And we're starting to see people for who they really are. And this is going to help us distinguish what is your true love partner and not. And who is it as well, right? Because I feel like there's like this mysteriousness to this love. Who is this mystery man? Who is this mystery woman in my dreams, in my aura, surrounding me, spiritually always with me, giving love to me, right? This is the spiritual love that is finally coming out the curtain and revealing their true self, and in the physical as well, because this is going to happen once you reach the state of the journey, the very end. So if you don't feel like you're here yet, then maybe you need to restart this whole show series, and then maybe it's going to help you to re-understand. You know I'm going to rewatch them as well, and I might watch them like as a marathon as well, because I feel like I've done a lot of healing work with the whole 12 months that I've been doing this show series. But maybe for you need to watch one of them month by month. It really just depends on where you're at. And that's where booking a soul coaching session with me pays off, right? So I can help you more in detail. But this is what's coming, right? We are starting to see people for who they are. And when you grow this spiritually mature on your journey, you know that then you're able to conquer anything that comes your way. And that's what spiritual partnerships are about. These power couples, spiritual partners, spiritual couples are these warriors of light. And they are just unbreakable, unshakable, because they are the light to the world. And nothing can get in there, right? In their aura, even individually, because they've already crossed the other side. They've already passed graduation and beyond, right? They are well advanced spiritually. And that's what these lovers need to reach to be able to come into true union. Because if not, there's going to be separation and lack of union, right? Which is basically no union, because union can only happen once. You can't break apart from a spiritual love. If you've already met your spiritual lover in this life, physically in the real world, then there's what's called separation. And when you come together, that's more of a reunion, which means that you come together. And there can be separations after reunions, right? Because maybe you need to come together and then separate to do more inner healing work on an individual level, on a personal level, so that when you come, when you're ready to be in official union, then you're already healed and you are ready for this new chapter, because it's a whole new life. Once you begin this partnership, the work doesn't end. It's just different kind of work. Now it's more collaborative partnership work for, again, the spiritual mission, right? Which is what's coming between 2020 to even 2024. And so this is the preparation that the divine is really pushing among us, for especially those spiritual partners that are going to come together sooner rather than later, and maybe even unexpectedly, because this is the serendipitous miracles that are coming, because the world needs us. The world is in chaos. The world is in need. The world is drowning. And these spiritual partners are like these superheroes in the world, literally here to save the world, save humanity from their own selves, from drowning in their purgatory, right? And then of course descendants. And these light workers who are well above ascended spiritually and well elevated with their angel wings already spread and flying, we're here to just spread our wings and fly over the world and see who needs help. That's what a light worker is. We help others who are falling down because we've already been there. That's why we need to go through the whole even human experience, because light workers and those who are well in their, I guess you want to say, enlightened state, very spiritually mature, many of us are, even some of them, and this is something that we discuss more in my School of Light exclusive, but take Jesus for example, right? Jesus was an ascended master. He was not an ordinary human, but he had to live the human experience to be able to empathize with humans and then be able to forgive them regardless of what they did, right? This is this compassion that being human brings in us, because humans experience emotions and then humans experience suffering because of those emotions, right? But then when we detach from the human emotions, then we can detach from suffering, past pain, past traumas that are blocking our healing. And this is what needs to happen. This is the breakthrough and breaking point, which again, parallel is happening also on an individual level, which is what I discussed in the Lightwork University. But for spiritual love is also happening. So on a more personal level, you want to say when it comes to your love life, past relationships, past experiences with partners or dating, or any kind of even sexual experience that might have been traumatic, this all needs to be cleared and washed away for us to be able to experience something completely fresh and new, which is so pure and innocent that nothing from the past can come and taint it. So this is this preparation that's happening between 11:11 and 12:12. So expect 11:11 is like the 11:11 Make-A-Wish portal, and then 12:12 is the Serendipity conclusion. Okay, so that's why I kind of channel those two messages there, because this is the bridge between now and then, and the finale to this love story, only to begin a fresh new chapter, which is a whole different probably show series as well, that maybe I will be guided to kind of talk more about what it would be like to be in spiritual love union once I'm in union. I think that would be a great show series as well to educate the collective, because there's a whole different thing that happens after that, right? Or not thing, it's just like a whole different mission that happens after, and a whole different experience that is just very beautiful as well. Every phase is beautiful. This whole first year of this love journey has been like the courtship experience to reaching official sacred spiritual love union, divine union that's blessed. And it's a reward and gift from the universe. It's a gift that we are to receive and accept with open arms, open wings, open heart. And treat our partner as such as well, right? Treat them with the utmost respect. And realize that the way that we treat our partners, the way that we also treat ourselves. So maybe this is something that's also healing. Treating ourselves the best so that we may treat our partner the best, who deserves the best, because they are a spiritual lover, which is an innocent lover. And this is of light only. So no dark lessons can come in, which is what we touched on in the previous episode, right? That's what these other partners are for. And past experiences, because they hurt, right? Eventually it's gonna hurt at some point, even if it's just a breakup. But this relationship, this spiritual love relationship, is not gonna bring hurt. If anything, it's gonna bring elation. It's gonna bring excitement. It's gonna bring ecstasy. It's gonna bring bliss. It's gonna bring joy. It's gonna bring unconditional love. All of these transcendent kind of emotions that we experience, which is what we learn about also in Tantra, in my School of Light. This is this kind of love. But there's a lot of nakedness and vulnerability, metaphorically and probably literally, that need to happen during this month, this transition of 11:11 to 12:12. You know, see the birth of Venus always. She is all naked and proud of her physical temple, because she knows that her spirit is just as cleansed and transparent. Remember that Adam and Eve, when they came on earth, they were completely naked before they were made to feel shame by the serpent, which was the deceiver, right? And we are all meant to be walking around like that. Okay, obviously we live in society now, but before society brainwashed all of humans and conditioned humans to be a certain way, we were pure, we were free. And that's what we need to return to. Freedom in spirit. Spiritual liberation. It's very powerful, 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 beautiful energy that's coming in. It's like winter magic, winter snow magic that's coming in when we start stepping into December. And especially winter solstice is 12/21, so that's another huge portal. I think more about sealing, because that's the mirroring energy, right? 12/21 is kind of, they're mirroring each other literally. That's the sealing of the union. 11/11 to 12/12 is the mirroring. Probably still single, but it's the closest we're gonna ever feel to this coming together. So there might even be physical bonding, again, you know, being honest, being transparent with each other, and then finally making it known in 12/21, like this is sealed, right? This is forever, for eternity. And again, this is where these marriages come in, right? I think the May Love Show was Sacred Vows, because we make these sacred vows even way before physical marriage. Remember, that's just an icing on the top of the cake when you marry someone in the physical realm, because already we are married in spirit, right? And that's the beauty of this kind of relationship, is that you don't need to prove this to anybody or to the world. You don't need to have an all-out marriage or wedding, because that's not the point. That's just an icing on top of the cake. If you want that, that's okay, right? But that's not all of it. And don't be deceived as well by anybody who has that. But when you go within the marriage, it's anything but that, right? So we want to make sure that the wedding reflects what is actually the true marriage, and whatever suits whatever you desire, right? Because a marriage is obviously to their own liking. Some people like to go all out, some people are more reserved, and that's okay. But the point is that it's the actual union and dynamic of that spiritual partnership that counts, because that's what you're taking with you forever. You don't take the wedding day forever with you. That becomes a memory that stays in the albums, right, in photography. But your partner's always with you in spirit, literally next to you. You're living with them, you're having a whole new life with them. And this is what we need to take into account. Okay, it's very powerful. And so yeah, let's get to our reading. I think today, right now, is a good time to kind of get into this next phase. Alright, so let's get to our reading today. And I think it would be a good idea to also look into this booklet, get more insights today specifically. Oh wow, there was 2 cards here. Actually, this card is important because it was hidden here. Alright. And this is the 6 of Pentacles. Again, this is definitely about the spiritual mission. I'm seeing, you know, the baby blue, sky blue color, which is the Lightwork University theme colors. This is what's coming to us and what we're being offered by God. This is going to bring harmony. And also the equality between partners, right? If this is an issue, maybe financial stability, financial abundance, know that this spiritual partnership is what's going to bring in this money, okay? Because both of them are equal in talent, in their gifts, in their potential. And then by bringing it together, it's the union of it. And that's when they make magic. That's where the true power comes in. It's in union. It's not in separation. It's not thinking that you need to be perfect to come into union, because believe it, that's actually what's going to delay the partnership. By you trying to do it all yourself and the other person trying to do it all themselves because they want to look good in front of their partner. But that's part of this transparency and vulnerability, is coming to your partner at an imperfect state and knowing that together you will heal and become perfect together. And that even bonds even more, right? When you do it together versus trying to do it all alone could take a lifetime. And that's a lifetime without your partner. So that's a beautiful, strong message for today. Really definitely broke it down and clarified this, because I think that this is one of the main blockages when it comes to spiritual love unions. This is why people settle with other people who they don't necessarily feel embarrassed with. They don't care what they think of them because they don't really love them, right? That's when you know that it's not a spiritual love partner. But the person that you care, who thinks about you, is the person that you don't want them to see you on your knees, because you might feel ashamed or embarrassed or not even good enough. And these are the kind of doubts and insecurities that need to be let go. This is a huge blockage. This is self-esteem. This is self-worth, self-value. And we need to love ourselves unconditionally, no matter where we're at, no matter what we have, no matter how we look. This is all being tested. And this is the final test, right, before this union that's coming. So thank you, God, for that powerful message. And if we look at the deck, which I am being guided to open up here, the booklet. So maybe there's like more looking into a situation, your own situation, right? Looking at the book of your life, and even, you know, maybe even writing a new story. How do you want your story to look like? You see, intertwining of strange situations, problems that are resolved. These are all the resolutions that need to come about to make this union happen. So I just confirmed what we were saying. And it needs to be done with love, with grace, with no hard feelings, right? Everything, looking at the past with love, with forgiveness, because we've all been hurt, right? On both ends. And we need to be able to forgive and let go and move on. Because that would not serve us. Even whether or not you're with your partner, it doesn't serve your spirit, your soul growth, right? Any toxic emotions are toxic to our soul, so we need to let go of that. And then let's get these two messages. Again, this is Archangel Gabriel showing up to Mother Mary. This is the birthing of these spiritual missions. Coming to the divine feminine, which has been pure. I do feel like true divine feminines out there have really been to themselves sacred women. And Archangel Gabriel is showing up because Archangel Gabriel, remember, came with the news that she was to give birth to Jesus, which was a spiritual mission, right? Because Jesus was the mission. But also blessing her with a husband. Joseph became her husband, and he protected her. And they were both in sacred union, raising Jesus, right? This baby boy, which was the mission. Sometimes spiritual partners' mission is giving birth to children. Maybe this child is going to do something very important in their life. And then Judgment Day, you see, this is divine intervention. Justice coming in, Judgment Day also for those who deserve to rise and ascend spiritually, those who are going to stay stuck in purgatory, and those who are going to die and go, like metaphorically, right, die of the ego, but also who's going to rise up or who's going to fall down and who's going to stay stuck in purgatory. I do feel like this is what is happening worldwide, collectively. Again, this is collective energy that influences these spiritual lovers. And if we see these two angels up here in the sky, right, blowing their horns of like, it's time for this judgment, remember that the first time that Jesus came onto earth was the first Judgment Day that was prophesied in the Bible. He was the said Messiah to come and save the world, save the people from their sins. And in the book of Revelations, which is the final book of the Bible, there's a prophecy of a second coming of Christ, which is yet to come, but is nearer than we think. And if I'm to give you a little hint, we've talked about this like in deep in one of my classes in the School of Light, but the deciphering of the book of Revelations basically came to the conclusion that it was going to be around 2030ish or 2067, something like that. I know that's a little far ahead, but of course, remember, we don't know exactly how even this is going to look like, right? Because we're in a new age. We're in the golden age of Aquarius. So there's newness coming in, this new world. And again, these spiritual partners are coming for spiritual mission because our world is also ascending. A new world, a golden era. And I also feel like these two angels on here are representative of what spiritual partners are going to look like. Again, spreading their wings now, they've ascended into angels, earth angels, right? Which is very different than angels or archangels. Earth angels are angels working on earth from the inside out. From down here working in, right? Because they've been up there spiritually. And again, that's why all the healing and spiritual work that needs to go on in the journey, when you go in hermitage, you go in solitude, you do your healing, you go up in the heavens, metaphorically, right? And then you come down and bring up this information, because these angels are going to be going around the world like this, literally spreading the teachings of God, His word, being role models and representations of God. That's very important. Every action that you do, every image that you portray and send out to the universe needs to be a physical representation of what Christ would do. Is it pure? Is it heavenly? Is it of light? Is it moral, right? Because remember, God has standards as well. It's not that we can do anything that we want on this planet. And this is the number 20 card. So this has been happening since 2020, of course, what we've been talking about. And it's been building up. We're stepping into 2022, which is in numerology, the number of partnerships. So 22, the coming together finally. And then we got the Magician in reverse. So this is a struggle. This is a challenge I'm feeling. This is a challenge of manifesting, anchoring this connection into the physical planet. Maybe again, these blockages that we've already discussed today. But let's go into the booklet and see what else wants to come through. And I feel like this can also be the divine masculine more than anything. Maybe overthinking the situation. And that's why he's having trouble manifesting this. Because this man looks like he's intently thinking on this. He looks very studious. There's like an astronomy book in the back or something like that. And he's here holding his chalice, trying to manifest something. But he's overthinking on this. He's just staring at that cup, trying to make water in that cup, right, out of nothing. But he's missing something. So maybe we need to ask, what is it that's missing for him? The Magician. I think is that we need to go for it, right? That was actually the Daily Heavenly Podcast Show message for yesterday, which definitely subscribe. Definitely follow me on my spiritualcounseling.tv Instagram page for the Daily Heavenly Podcast Show, which is absolutely free. And make sure that you become a member of the Spiritual Counseling TV network to get all my other exclusive content. This is, remember, a free show provided by the Spiritual Counseling TV network. But there's just so much more that I perform with all of you, teach as well, give speeches on the spiritual journey and everything else, psychology as well. So the Magician in reverse is social climbing, swindling, trickery, and charlatanism. All right, so maybe this is something that is one of the blockages. Again, this sounds kind of like corruption, which can also be a blockage. This is the purgatory energy for some people, right? Or maybe it's energies around you that influence this and then fog your mind, and then you're not able to think clearly. And then if we get the Judgment Day, which was in the upright, this is definitely what's happening in Judgment. Anything that's not serving you in your life as well will be cut out by the universe, by God. Sentence. You see, this is the sentence, kind of like the Judgment Day. Like the sentencing also can be soul searching, which is what happens. Analysis, awareness, reawakening, which is what 2021, specifically the second half of 2021, has been about. In the Lightworker University, I've done many paid events that you can always look right now. Go to christianramirez.com/lightworkeruniversity, where I give you yearly guidance month by month, and the themes for the previous 3 events that I did, that you can pay for it and watch it. For 2020, I channeled that it was the awakening, right? On a soul level, so for your spiritual mission, but also for the lovers, for the spiritual lovers. 2021 was the rebirth, specifically the first half of 2021, because then in July, which was mid 2021, I was guided to do another presentation, and it was the reawakening. So after your rebirth, you reawaken now to these inner talents, inner genes within you, and also the recognition of your other half, which is a DNA within you. And it's been the reawakening of this. So this has been like the cultivation of the repassion again for what we're meant to do on this planet, right? And then why we're meant to come together with our spiritual partner, if you understand. And now with this 2022 coming in, this is obviously now the next stage is the metamorphosis, which is the ultimate transformation. So this has been the reawakening. We've already been through this. And then let's ask again, what is it that exactly is coming next? And yeah, I guess what's coming next. This looks like spreading your wings and flying, the 6 of Wands, with a healed heart chakra. This is how we release and become free again, right? Very light-hearted, so light that you begin flying, right? Because imagine if you're trying to fly and you're carrying a big bag that's very heavy. You're gonna be, by gravity, dragged down, right? So we need to be very, very light for us to be able to ascend and then be able to be matching frequency for this higher love. Remember that this higher love is only attracted to us when we're on that same vibration of high love. So think of it like the world is running at different frequencies. The lowest of them all obviously is fear, 2D victimhood mentality. If you're vibrating down here, spiritual love is waiting up here. You need to literally climb, again, the climbing that we just mentioned, climb the ascension ladder. You need to be raising your vibration to be able to match the attraction of this kind of love, okay? And when you've made it up here on your own, this is a solo journey that needs to happen. This is the one line, line A, and then line B. This is the spiritual love partner that begins up here. So this is the first beginning, and then right here you meet at the higher frequency, and then there's a whole another elevator with the partner that can only be taken with the partner, with the spiritual love partner. That's gonna take you to a whole other world, other dimension, other mission even. But we're first on this first set of elevator, you can say, and or escalator, whatever it is that you want to call, and we're needing to climb. And maybe even it's even stairs, not elevator, because we need to go step by step and reflect and think on every single step that we're healing so that we don't go back. We don't want to fall down those stairs. We want to keep going up, climbing up always, right? And that is a big metaphor for how this whole journey works. The spiritual journey, the spiritual love journey. And I think we're done with these cards today. Maybe just one final message to close off today. Yeah, we got this one. The Knave of Chalices. This is like the Page of Cups. This is needing to offer our emotions freely. And this is more a divine masculine in this card here. So this is a divine masculine that needs to come with the healed throat chakra. This is the blue, and in innocence and purity. He's wearing pink leggings here, which is very interesting because for a man this is about self-love, and the divine feminine has been doing a lot of this self-love work. I feel like she's already loving herself more than enough, and now she's just waiting, right? She's waiting for the masculine to match her level and raise his vibration. Remember, the vibration comes from the inside out. It doesn't matter how happy you portray yourself to be on the outside, how social you are with those around you. It's an inner frequency, not an outer frequency. It's not a social frequency. It's an inner frequency. So you can be all hermit, but inside your soul, you can be at a very high vibration, right? And so that's what's needing to be leveled up for the divine masculines. Offering this cup proudly, right? And having raised his vibration. See how he's raising his hand. And then maybe let's get a guidance for the divine feminine. I feel like for her it's just temperance, like just literally just more patience, keep doing more work. She's focusing more on mission. Like for me, a divine feminine, I feel like I love myself enough, I know my worth enough, and I already know what I deserve and don't deserve, and I will not take any situation that's not respectful. So right now my focus literally is all on mission. Like I'm completely dedicated to God's mission right now, and of course continuing to do a lot of self-care and self-love for myself so that I may show up at my best for, again, the mission. I'm literally married to the mission, and that's the kind of state that you need to reach as a divine feminine. Put always the mission first, and this is the energy for the divine feminine. It's the Virgin Mary energy, the same card that we just got right before, the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands, powerful energy, new beginnings for this mission with the partner here, giving birth to something new. And I feel like this birthing that's to be taking place with the divine feminine is even still in her womb. Like it's cultivating in there, right? It's like these 9 months that a baby takes to finally be out in the world. I feel like this is where the divine feminines are at. We're cultivating something freshly new, right? Which is gonna be with the divine masculine union. And so there's just patience and a lot of self-care and nurturance, because remember, how a mother takes care of herself is how the baby's gonna turn out, how healthy the baby's gonna turn out. But this is again a metaphor. It doesn't literally have to be a baby, although for some of them it can, but it's also the mission. So we really need to be like our own best friend during these moments and think of it in this way. And this is beyond blessed. Archangel Gabriel, which is the archangel that overlooks mission work, creative work, is blessing this partnership and telling her that there is hope. So keep the faith, because it's coming. This is a new beginning, and it's like the best of the best, right? It's kind of like we all save the best for last, and that's how destiny works. God saves always the best for last. So know this, my friends, that the best is yet to come. We're not experiencing the best yet. We're experiencing perhaps a glimpse of the best, or maybe, I think for the Divine Feminine, she's in a very good place in her life, a very comfortable place. But remember that the best is sometimes not always comfortable. So we need to always be willing to step outside our comfort zone. And for the Divine Masculines, I feel like they're a little one step behind the Divine Feminine. So I do feel like the Divine Masculines are learning from the Divine Feminine how she treats herself, how they should be treating themselves, and also, standing up for themselves and respecting themselves. And I feel like they will catch up. And I feel like when they catch up, it's going to be even a little bit surpassing them. Because remember that a spiritual love partnership, it's the Divine Masculine that protects the Divine Feminine, right? A true spiritual love partnership, the Divine Feminine shouldn't be like a mother to the Divine Masculine, right? Although there is this nurturing love energy, it's also an equal partnership. And the Divine Masculine always needs to be just one step ahead, because he is the masculine in the partnership, right? And this is what it's about. The masculines are learning to be more masculine, right? That's kind of funny, but they're learning to be their most masculine, because that's what their Divine Feminine needs. And the Divine Feminine is just surrendering to more of her Divine Feminine, because remember that being Divine Feminine brings in vulnerability. So she needs her protector, her Joseph by her side, right? Mother Mary needed her Joseph because she was very feminine, very vulnerable, very sensitive. And that's what a true Divine Feminine is. And that's what the Divine Masculines are working towards, becoming the man that she needs him to become. And the Divine Feminine is just there waiting in her throne, the princess becoming a queen. She's also maturing in her own self. But once she becomes this queen, she's going to be ready to be married off to her equal counterpart, to her one, to her spiritual prince, her spiritual king, her spiritual partner. And that's where we're going to end the Love Show series. I hope that you enjoyed this long journey to achieving the spiritual love in this lifetime, and I hope that you may find it and be blessed with your partner. My name is Christy Ramirez, and I'm your soul coach. Thank you for watching. Namaste.